Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to just have a talk about the Shrewsbury Biscuit and kind of where it is at the moment. The last few weeks have been here, there, everywhere. There have been things I've said I was going to be able to go to that we can't go to anymore, and it's mainly because I started a new job. A few lifestyle changes, positive things, but they're things that I've had to come first before the show, basically. And if you have a life and family and job and stuff, you'll understand. The biscuit's not going anywhere, not at all. But in this moment of unsettlement, in this moment of where I'm trying to feel around and find where everything is in my life at the moment, things have been a little bit up in the air about where we're going to be doing things and how we're going to be doing things. And so we were supposed to be at the flower show. We couldn't be there because I started a new job the week before. There were a few things going on that week I couldn't go to either, and Camp Festival we're not going to be at either, and I'll explain why now. So I'm very sorry that we haven't been able to be out there as much as normal. We're not going anywhere, just making a few changes, and once the dust has settled, I'm pretty sure we'll just crack on as normal. But I always say to people, if they want to come and join me on my travels, that the Shrewsbury Biscuit, as a host, co-host, or as a partner of whatever it is we're doing, it's always there until, for as long as it feels comfortable to do so. And whenever, if you're happy to do these things and go out with me with microphones and get interviews and stuff, then that's cool. Sometimes positive life changes come in the way. Not getting in the way. They're good things, and it means that different priorities change, don't they? So with that, Verity has had some very positive lifestyle changes, and so she's stepped away for a bit, but we're still good friends, and I wish Verity the absolute best in her new challenges and what she's going to go out and do with her life. Fantastic, and she may come back. We never know. But all I want to say is thank you, Verity. Thank you so much we've had such a great time. Some of the adventures that we've had, some of the conversations we've had so much fun. And I think Verity made me a better person as well. So Verity, thank you so much for what you've been doing on the biscuit. And who knows? We never say never on the show. So congratulations on what's going on with your life at the moment. Go out and smash it, Verity. I know you will. Now, that's out of the way. But I'm genuinely mixed up about it because obviously I'm going to miss Verity being on the show, but she's a good friend too, so I'm very happy for her. I just also want to say that we do have a new website coming soon at the end of August. I've been chatting with the guys at Web Orchard, just making a few changes to it before we launch it. We're going to get a new logo. There's going to be a new look. It's going to be fantastic. But there's new opportunities with the biscuit as well. I'm finally okay with going out there and getting adverts, locally sourced adverts for the show. And the way I'm doing it is a regular or a large slot. So a regular slot is a 20-second advert, which may be adjacent to another advert. And a large slot is a 40-second advert by itself. We can have 4 regular slots, or we can have 2 large slots per show. And if you do want to advertise on the Shrewsbury Biscuit, please get in touch with me. I don't charge an awful lot at all. In fact, it's really cheap compared to the rest of advertising out there. Please email me. And the email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. Right, on to today's guest then, Vanessa Fairfax-Woods. A great interview we did at her house. It was really, really great meeting Vanessa. So what tends to happen when I book a guest for the biscuit, I like to research my guest, unless it's somebody I've met on the spot for the first time at a festival somewhere. That happens sometimes. But what I tend to do, where you'll find me before an interview, whether it's the day before or the morning before, I will be sat on the sofa with a tablet or a laptop or my phone, and I'll be researching the guest I'm about to speak to. Sometimes I'll make notes. Sometimes I'll just go in with the knowledge I've learned before going in. With Vanessa, it does happen from time to time where I will research a guest and it'll be like, oh, because all the components are there for the perfect podcast. You know, there are with Vanessa, it's all about art, it's all about mental health, it's all about body positivity, and it's all about putting things right and standing up to them. You know, it's all about those things that I feel are just great to talk about. So yeah, before going into this podcast, I was very excited. And what that does, it creates like an energy before we've even hit record, and I can feed off that energy throughout the whole interview. And you'll hear this now. I had a really, really good time meeting Vanessa, and I think you're going to enjoy this one. So without further ado, I'll leave you with this one. This is the amazing Vanessa Fairfax-Woods. Enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and today I'm speaking to a person who I've been learning a lot about this week. A person who I feel has a lot of things in common with our stances against certain things, and a great artist, photographer, and doer of things. Vanessa Fairfax-Woods, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honour, it really is. I know originally we were meant to speak about a pop-up you were going to be doing in Shrewsbury, right?
Yes, I originally was going to be doing a little pop-up studio to raise some money to go to New York, where I've been invited to go and be part of an arts festival out there. It's really exciting. So yes, originally it was going to be that, but that's been cancelled, unfortunately. So we can talk about anything you like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you messaged me and it was really nice, actually. You're like, oh, well, I'm not doing the pop-up now, so I don't know. Like, are you a Salopian? Are you talented? Then let's get you on the show, because that's what it's all about. Oh.
That gave me the biggest boost. It was so lovely. I was like, oh, thanks, Alex.
That's what we like to do on the show. We would like to speak to talented people. And, your work has got a lot of meaning, both towards your beliefs and to you personally. But I think what we need to do is understand a bit about you as a person before we get into that. So are you a natural Salopian? Do you come from here originally? Or?
I've lived in Shropshire for about 20 odd years. I've moved all over the shop, actually. In a very potted history, I went to 13 schools, so I moved a lot around the UK and in France as well. So I was brought up in a family of artists. So my dad's a sculptor and my mum's a painter. And so I, as a little one, I used to go travel basically wherever my dad would have a commission. So he used to be like an artist in residence around towns all over the UK, and we'd stay there for like 3 months or 6 months and stuff like that. So yeah, I've had a bit of a bonkers upbringing, but always surrounded by art and things like that. So that's where it comes from.
I think mainly, more importantly, the license to be creative.
Yeah, I think what I've realised in other families is that when I look at how other people are brought up, it's like they're not encouraged to be creative all the time, and that sense of play and expressing yourself in a creative way just isn't thought about as a priority. Yeah. Whereas actually I was brought up very much that's a priority, and it's, you know, it's kind of lovely that I've had that, but it is so sad that other people haven't got it in the same way. We
were just kind of weirdly talking about something parallel to that just before we hit record, and I was talking about, I've got a new big boy job. So like, yeah, I was talking about like, going from doing the radio and You Suck, and listeners of the show, the things that I make will know that I've reined things right back to its bare core. In fact, I'm recording 4 shows for August and releasing them so I can go out and do responsible things. Well, one of them is going on holiday, which I think is an investment in myself.
Yeah, totally.
And I feel like, I don't know, man. It's kind of, I have to go out and get that big boy job, but I can't. If I could sit behind a microphone every single day and get paid for it, I would. Everybody knows. Everybody listens to this. Well, that's a no-brainer. I would definitely snap that job off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I'm the same. And it's it's an interesting one. Yeah, we were talking beforehand about that balance between being really kind of like faithful to your creativity and to what you feel that your craft is and what you want to say with your craft.
Yeah.
And making money. And unfortunately, in the size society that we're in, it's incredibly difficult to find that. You've got amazing artists like Tracy Emin and stuff like that who've kind of like absolutely smashed it out of the park, but there are the 0.0001% of people who can do that. And for most creative people, you have to find a balance between making sure that you're scratching that itch and paying the bills.
I like the fact that you use the term scratching that itch, because it is like, it's really hard to explain. Like, if I didn't do the biscuit, like I've just had a very frank conversation with a professional that works for me, and talking about like, if I didn't do this, I'd probably go bonkers.
Yeah, 100%. And for years, actually, I've come to fruition, I suppose you'd call it, kind of late in life. I'm 42 now, and I only just graduated from my MA in photography, and I did my BA at 39. So I was really, really late to coming to it, and I kind of tried to suppress my creative urges, streaks, whatever you want to call it, for years, and it made me miserable. It actually made me ill. I have long-term mental health issues, and actually what I found was the more authentic I am to being open to my creative process, the better I am, the healthier I feel. And it's so important, if you've got that in you, to keep that and nurture it.
It's like a vent, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
you know, release off a bit of steam. And this is the same for me. I totally empathise with you, especially with mental health issues. It's not an easy thing, but I feel like, I mean, I've been looking at some of your videos and the work you've been doing around mental health, and I feel like it's a really hard thing to visualize, to contextualize.
Yeah.
In a way that, you know, it's personal to you, you know.
Yes.
And I feel like you do that really, really honestly, you know, and really easily in what it looks like on page or on the screen. It's just, but how long did it take to get to a point where you could actually do that?
It was a tricky one, because I had a breakdown last year. And I was off work for a long time, and I was in and out of Oak Paddock, which is an amazing facility near Redwoods, actually absolutely amazing. If anybody wants to chuck any money towards a good mental health course, please donate to Oak Paddock, because they are unbelievably good. Respite centre up there. And I was in a state where I wasn't able to be creative, but I was still kind of like thinking through this process. And one of the things that I created for my mental health project was this Rubik's Cube that's made up of my face on different sides, and to show kind of like how you can be completely recognisable 1 second and then completely unrecognisable another second, and then what that does to try and get yourself back to feeling like you're yourself again. Yeah. And that was something that in Oak Paddock, there was one of the chaps who was in there with me. He had suffered really badly from anxiety, and he carried a Rubik's Cube everywhere with him. So it's like, even though I wasn't really thinking it, it was there ticking away in the back of my mind throughout the whole time that I was poorly. And if I hadn't been there, and if I hadn't gone through that, then actually that would never have happened. So it's kind of like an interesting thing where, even though you're not consciously processing things in a creative way, it's always kind of like ticking in there somewhere, getting through, and then the ideas kind of just pop up.
And I was reading about that. That's one of the sentences, one of the paragraphs. It really struck me from reading about that was you're talking about paint by numbers and Rubik's cubes and the activities they give you to do. I mean, normally people would be like, whatever. Yeah. But when you broke that down and you said, well, they mirror what we're actually trying to do with our mental health, I was like, oh my God, that's so humbling. That really is. When you realize.
Good. I know. I'm really pleased it came across like that, because it was a real kind of light bulb moment for me. Because again, you know, I was doing them and I didn't realise it until much later, when you start reflecting on it and you're like, oh my God, this is exactly holding up the mirror to this process. And and it was a really nice way, because I think also, especially with conceptual art, and it's got such a bad rep, and I get why it can be, because some things I look at, I think, Jesus Christ, what else is going on here? But I think to kind of find things that are really recognisable to people, like paint by numbers, like colouring in, like the Rubik's Cube, is like everybody knows what it is. So it's quite easy to find something then that you can kind of like communicate as a way back to people, because they immediately recognise it as what it represents without you having to explain it too much.
Yeah. And there is a lot of passion behind your work. And do you feel like passion, in one way or another, can either like encourage your work and make it better, or can also hinder it in a way that you maybe don't realize? I went out and I was like, the Justice League movie is the best movie ever made. And then I watched it like 4 times. I was like, actually, it's terrible. But it's because I love Batman. I was kind of like, that was the passion behind me saying all that, right? So what I'm trying to say is, like, do you think your passion can push you a little bit too far sometimes?
Oh, yeah. The work called The F Word, and it's about society's fear of fat. And I'm fat and I'm okay with it. But a lot of people struggle with either alluding to me being fat or alluding to themselves being fat. And, people are always praised about sort of, losing weight rather than putting weight on and all that sort of stuff. And I get really, really, really cross with it. And that's something where in my personal life, there are certain relationships which I now really struggle with, because they are very much embedded in the thin is good ethos. And I'm absolutely in the other camp, and we can't agree on it, and it's really hard.
I think natural is beautiful. I really do, and I always have done. And I know there are a few advocates for body positivity, and I was very shocked to read a story about Lizzo yesterday, actually. Because, that really threw me as well. Because her music, her videos, everything that she does is all about body positivity.
Yeah.
She stands up against the comments on Facebook. She's a warrior for it. But then there's stories been released recently that her and the team have been body shaming the dancers, and I'm like, that's a real shock to me.
Yeah.
I hope it's not true. I hope it's just
I hope it's not true, but if it is, then it needs to be tackled head on, and let's see what happens with that. Because it really threw me, because especially somebody who's such an advocate for all positivity, all bodies are amazing, everyone's beautiful. It was just like, what? Yeah, really threw me too.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got somebody in that camp, I mean, that's really dangerous when you've got someone in that camp that is an advocate for body positivity, but on the inside they're actually one of the tormentors. That's very dangerous, in fact. So I hope it's not true, and I hope it gets resolved. And if it isn't true, I think you're right. You need to definitely delve into that. But we done work with Becky Liснey as well, with a Lilith body positivity work as well. And I've been for guys as well. I feel like I know it's wrong to be like, oh, but what about guys? But I feel like there is, with the Chris Hemsworths of the world and the way things are going with models, I feel like there is also a claim there that guys need to sort of, I'm going to Turkey in a couple of weeks, I'm getting my kit off, I don't care. I don't care what people think about me. Like,
I've got a poster in the bathroom actually that says beach body ready. It's a thing do you remember those awful adverts, like oh god, they're probably about 10 years ago now, where they got slammed. They were yellow ones with women in bikinis, and they're like beach body ready.
Oh, really?
And I've got the poster upstairs, and it's a huge guy in a onesie saying he's beach body ready. And I'm like, yes, you're everybody's beach body ready.
I think the message behind it is, can everybody just be nice and just be accepting, I think, And
it's, it's awful because, I agree. And I think, it is meant to. And obviously I know that, women definitely get the brunt of it, in every level, with makeup, with hair, with clothing, with absolutely everything. I mean, like, but it's definitely prevalent in men too. I mean, something that I don't know what the stats are on the male sizing, but I'm a size 16. The national average of a woman is size 16, and 90% of female clothing only goes up to size 16, and then it goes into plus size. So what that is telling women straight away, who is a national average, that they're too big, they're on the absolute brink of acceptability before they're then put in a special pot. And that's wrong.
And it's crazy, isn't it? Because I feel like when it comes to speaking out about body positivity, I mean, from only what I know and what I've sort of read and stuff, like America and the UK are kind of like this, maybe Australia too, the people that make the most noise about it, and so maybe it's something to do with the manufacturers of our clothes, where they come from. Maybe there's more of a percentage of people that are actually like a bit more strict and care we're in maybe in the wrong ways about body imagery and the kind of, so maybe there's a more of a percentage of body sizes in Europe and places where I don't know how that works, but I think maybe that's probably where it is. But I think there needs to be more work put into it, because
there does. And it's like, being fat doesn't mean that you failed. Being fat can be amazing and wonderful, and you can also be healthy. I think there's this whole thing where it's like, if you're fat, you are obviously dying very early, and you can't,
or you're lazy
and all that sort of thing. And it's like, actually no, yes, there obviously are health issues that come with certain levels of obesity and things like that, but there's also huge health risks with being too thin, and people never ever focus on that. So we've really got to think about the balance between it, and you can still have a healthy lifestyle and be chubby, because I do. So
this is one of my arguments. Not since I was about 20 have I been skinny, and I was really skinny, but then I did what most guys do. And but I'll never have anybody call me lazy. I'm one of the hardest working people out there, and people that follow the biscuit will see that, and they have seen that over the years. I'm not lazy. I'm a very hard working person. So if anybody calls me lazy, like, they can call me fat all they like, but when they call me lazy, that's when I get my back up, because hey, come on.
No, it's true, and I was the same. Like, when I did my BA and my MA, I was also working full time in a demanding job. So, definitely fat does not equal lazy.
And the F word as well, the suit that you created for that. Can we talk a bit about that?
Yeah. So that's the thing that I've been invited to New York to go to, which is so exciting. I've never been to New York before. So I collaborated with a really, really talented costumier called Nicholas Immaculate. He lives in Maysbury, so very local. He's done costumes for Madonna, Take That. Who else has he done? He's done some amazing stuff, and luckily he's a friend of mine, so we collaborated on this costume, where basically I photographed my untamed flesh, and then I had it turned into fabric, different types of fabric, and he created a costume that is quite confronting. Again, it's very much like Marmite. People either love it or hate it. And it kind of like plays around with the very stereotypical conformity of what is beautiful for a woman. So there's one boob that's huge and there's one boob that's small, and then we're kind of like playing around. We've got the corset kind of like getting the belly to spill out instead of squishing it in, and all that sort of stuff. So it really plays with the way that we assume a human female should look and should be beautiful, and so it actually ends up looking quite grotesque, but it's amazing, and it's a real talking piece. What's going to be interesting in New York is that the festival, it actually takes place on 14th Street in Manhattan, so I'm going to be walking down 14th Street in that costume. Nice. Yes, and there is a boob out, and I had to check that was legal over there, and apparently it is. Nipples are.
I did see a video of you in the Darwin Centre, wasn't it? How quickly did you have to do that before somebody noticed?
It was fine. I actually got permission. The bid are just
they are
amazing, absolute, big shout out to them. And they got me access in there, and access to the old Topshop when it was empty as well. So I shot a lot of photographs in the old Topshop with some mannequins and things that were still there. And there's me going up and down the elevators, which is quite funny.
You're a boob out. And Margaret's there early for a shopping.
Yeah, I know. Well, because we got there really, really early, and then the cleaners started coming in, and it was like, right, time to leave now.
There's something really vulnerable about when art becomes like that, when you're out there in your awe, and what's the drive towards that? Where did that come from for you as an artist growing up, and you realized, actually, do you know what, I want to be out there, flaws and all?
I think when I was little, I wanted to be an actress, and so I kind of went into that route quite heavily, and then realised I could never remember my lines. So
could be a problem.
It was a bit of a problem. So I had this terrible thing where I had to do a monologue and forgot 99% of it, and nobody prompted me, so it was a really short piece on stage. So that kind of put me off acting. I was like, oh Christ, what can I do now? And then I started a photography course, and I thought, I can perform this way instead.
Nice.
So, and I found inspiration through photographers like Cindy Sherman, who does a lot of that sort of stuff, and kind of like found a voice through that and through sort of performing for the camera. You don't have to remember your lines, which is really useful. And
smile or don't smile.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's just done. It's over. I found that a way. And I think that I've always been kind of like really passionate about, in particular, women's rights and equality and that sort of stuff. I was brought up, my mum's like an ardent feminist, and when I was little, she took me to Greenham Common, the big camp in Berkshire when I was little. So I kind of grew up with this protest culture in my mind already.
Nice. Cool.
It just felt obvious to kind of then explore that through my art.
That's really nice. And like I said, at the beginning of this podcast, have a license for creativity, but a license also to stand up for those who need to be stood up for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's, I think that's one thing that sometimes, again, friends and family have struggled with some of my more personal work, is that it's not just about me. And sometimes they're kind of going, oh, but that's you. And I'm like, no, that's me performing. That's me being or representing something that I struggle with in society, rather than it's like, oh, it's all about me as a person.
No, but sometimes as well, you can do that and make it all about you, and then someone will relate to it. I made a quote on a podcast a couple of podcasts ago, the Shropshire Mental Health Service takeover we did. What I do right now, it doesn't matter if we're talking about the most mundane subject in the world. If it takes someone away from their lives for an hour and gives them a bit of peace and quiet, then we're going to do that, so I can talk about myself as much as I like.
Go for it.
And feel absolutely fine with it, it must work. Do you get a lot of feedback of people that you've helped and encouraged?
Actually, it's amazing. I get messages from people who say, thank you for that. I needed it. And
thank you for that. I do. I read it. I felt exactly the same.
Really? Did you?
I did.
Oh no! Thank you, because it means so much when you kind of like go and I've had people go, "Oh God, you're a role model." I'm like, "Am I?" I live in Shrewsbury and I've got a silly sausage dog, and I kind of like fuddle about my life. But then somebody goes, "Oh, you're a real inspiration." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So it's lovely.
It's amazing how we grow. With maturity. I'm a big friends with a radio show in America, Matt Connaughton Unleashed. Great friends of mine, and it's an apolitical show, so you can go in and argue about whatever,
Yeah.
And one of the people that regularly goes on the show, John Hopwood, called me a liberal bigot or left wing bigot, I think it was. Because we had a disagreeing about something. I think it was a particular word he used. And back then I was kind of like, we had this massive argument on this radio show.
Brilliant.
It was amazing. But just this week, we've kind of like, I've kind of like created a sense of calm where I can just be a bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
And a bit more like, I messaged John, he's going through some hardship, and I was just kind of like, hey man, I'm sorry we fell out. But actually I'm in awe of your episode. And we actually started chatting. Do you feel like, when you how does it work for you? Do you feel like you're becoming more impatient, more patient, more forgiving as you're getting older with your work?
Oh, definitely more. That's an interesting. I'm more forgiving in like myself. I have been known to be quite impatient and willful in my time, but I think it's a difficult one with the work though, because like I just keep finding more and more stuff I want to explore or protest or. But I don't think I'd want to shut anyone's conversations down. What I'd want to do is open the conversations up. And I think that's something that's really important, especially with the work that I try and produce, is what I want is to people to go, hadn't thought about it like that. Let's have a chat. And I think that's something that I really struggle with in today's society, where everything seems to be very black and white, is that people can't, with opposing views...
Apples to oranges, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they really struggle to have a proper conversation without it getting personal or heated or somebody just shutting down. And I think that's a skill that we've lost, and I really hope that we can bring it back, because that's where you learn about life.
And that's why I love what I do with the biscuit, because I think conversations getting lost, especially in this TikTok era, you know, where everything's short.
Oh, Christ, I can't.
I think TikTok would be great for you, actually.
Well, I keep thinking about it. The only thing is, it's so loud when it comes on, it does my absolute head in. And I know I'm sure there's settings that can turn these things off, but obviously I am hugely a Luddite, really. But yeah, no, and I keep thinking about TikTok because I did some, I don't know if you saw them, the sort of parodies of beauty hacks.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I think they'd lend themselves to TikTok really well because they are ridiculous videos.
I saw one with this girl, and a big girl, you know, with some blemishes on her skin. And she completely transformed herself. And the way to transform herself was to put so much makeup on her face. I was like, oh my God, she's literally got a paintbrush and she's painting it on. And I'm like, what? That's not you though.
No. And the thing is that when you see people in the flesh with that on, it looks really weird. It looks great at a certain angle with a certain filter and the light. Because, you know, I've done it for those beauty hacks, actually. Like, it was quite funny because I used to trowel it on. I've still got so much makeup left over from it. Trowel it on. And, yeah, it looks great on screen. It look amazing. I look like an absolute nutter in real life.
Oh, look, it's geisha.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the new Joker's out. You know, so I mean, it's fine for it. I mean, makeup can be really fun and it can be really playful. I mean, I love watching Glow Up on the BBC. I think it's a brilliant show where you can show creativity, but it's just when people rely on it as the only way that they feel safe or authentic or something like that.
I used to like, is it Queer Eye for a Straight Guy?
Oh, I love it.
Those guys are just insane.
Amazing.
Absolutely insane. I would love to go on a night out with them because they would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it? It would just, everything, there'd be chaos, absolute chaos. But I used to love watching that because I feel like sometimes, you know, when it comes to these guys that are kind of in a bit of a rut, I consider myself as in a bit of a rut at the moment. I put a bit of weight on. There's no, you know, self-esteem's been sapped a little bit. But I'm starting a new job, starting a new page in my life. Just today, I feel like a surge of energy where I can just feel like I can take anything on.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes it needs a kick up the arse to be able to do that. That's why I like that queer eye. Because
it's brilliant. I know. I'd love to be on it.
Is there anything, I mean, you mentioned Glow Up. Is there anything that you've seen recently that is kind of like, ooh, getting you that inspiration to get working on something?
Well, it's a bit weird and it's not anything I've watched. It's about 6 to 8 months ago, I got 13,000 new followers on my Facebook page.
Nice.
And they're all from Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. And they're all asking for my services. And I'm like, this is weird. What's going on? And they've been sending me these kind of like weird romance videos. It's all weird. I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, there's something in it.
As in Bollywood stuff? Like,
yeah, kind of weird, like their own homemade Bollywood TikToks, I suppose. So I don't know if they're wanting a wife or if they're just other services, but I'm not responsible.
Bob's and Vagine. I've heard that many times, not by me personally, but by friends.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something in that to inspire me at the moment because I'm just like, why have I suddenly become on their radar? What the hell happened there? Has somebody put me on there as a joke? Has my algorithm got mixed up in something weird? I don't know. It's interesting. So yeah.
So you're thinking of leaning on it a little bit?
I'm kind of, I like to. I'm not going to interact with them. I don't want to interact with them. But at the moment, I'm collating all of their profile pictures and the videos they've sent me.
Nice. I like that.
They're weird. They're really odd.
And, you know, I feel like there are certain behaviours, especially when it comes to social media, with things similar to that can create insecurities in young girls.
Yes.
In particular, dick pics being one of them.
Yeah.
Insults, aggression, and the nice guy syndrome sort of stuff you see.
Yeah.
Is there anything in your work, or is there anything like that you produce that can sort of help people through that? Those the things that kind of really aggressive, aren't they? Like in the world. Or is there anything you could do, or any advice? I mean, how do you deal with something like that? You know? Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at it as a kind of as a conceptual thing. I mean, obviously, it's not I don't find it personal for me getting dick pics.
No.
Also got sent a pile of money the other day in a picture. I was like, I wish that was real.
Yeah, share this to 10 people, and we'll send you the band. From
I don't know. I mean, it's hard, and I'm so glad that I didn't have social media when I was a teenager. My sister's a lot younger than me. She's 26 now, and so she did, and I've seen the effect it's had on her and how she feels about the way she looks and how she feels about her body. And it's so sad because she's gorgeous and amazing and wonderful, but she doesn't believe it at all. And I think a lot of that is down to social media and also filtering yourself. Like I find that because my brother's a lot younger than me as well. He's even younger. And I find that they filter themselves a lot, and they, especially when they were teenagers, they kind of like really watched what they were doing all the time. Whereas when I was a teenager, it was just like whatever was going on. And I didn't even think about what people would think about me or my behavior or my actions or my friends or anything like that, because there was no mirror being put back up to us. Yeah,
something I talked a lot about on Instagram, and the reason why I bring up the whole behavior for social media is because of those unsolicited situations where they're contacting you. But I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with this Instagram era we're living in, where people are having to either wear ridiculous amounts of makeup or use filters and stuff. And
and the filter thing is, I mean, like plastic surgery requests now are more about, can you make me look like this filter, rather than can I have bigger boobs or whatever. And you just
see a girl walking down with dog ears.
Yeah, exactly. There was a Black Mirror episode, I think, wasn't there, with somebody with
was that with them with Dallas Howard? Bryce Dallas Howard, the one where she was all about the likes and the Instagram.
No, she had a filter on and she wouldn't come out from behind the filter.
Really?
Yeah. It was years ago, I can't remember. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it's going, and I think it's going to be interesting to see with AI as well.
It's just a generation of real insecurity, and this is something that I'm coming. I've never used filters or anything. I don't really. In all honesty, I've just make sure the angle's right.
Yeah.
Because I think from the front angle, I look all right. From the side angle, bit of a chubster.
Gotta know your angle.
But at the same time, I really don't care. Do you know what I mean? And it's a real issue. But I feel like it's down to a lot of. I struggle a lot with social justice issues on social media. There's a lot going on at the moment that I feel like there isn't a strong enough voice for.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes down to the things that's going on Instagram, there isn't a strong enough voice to say it's okay.
Yeah, I think there was something I watched recently, and I think it was an old documentary, so don't go looking for it because it probably doesn't even exist anymore. I think it was on the BBC, and it was about Instagram and the effect it has on mental health and people with eating disorders in particular it focused on. And there was what was heartbreaking, and actually since it's pointed out I've noticed it, is that so people on social media, they'll join these get thin anorexia groups, those sorts of stuff, and then they'll try and get help and they'll come out of them. But what Instagram does, the way that the algorithms work, is that it'll leave you alone for a little bit and then it'll go, hey, do you want to go back in this group? And then you might say no again, and then it goes, hey, do you want to go back in this group? Hey, do you want to do this? And it just gently nudges you every couple of months to go, you sure you don't want to come back into this world?
Yeah.
And it's like, that could be a world of cute dogs, but it could also be a world of self-harm. And it's so dangerous.
That happened to me with a group I thought would be one of the best groups to ever go into. And it was about The Office. I love The Office, right? And I thought, let's have, share the memes and stuff. And all it was a hatred for Pam. And I was just like, that's literally all it is. And if you say anything, whether you like Pam, you get abuse. If you don't like Pam, you get abuse. And it was literally, that's all it was, this most toxic thing. And I was just like, wow.
That's so weird.
That was something so wonderful as The Office.
Yeah.
Comes this most toxic thing, and it's genuinely like the worst thing. And I left it, and I still get suggestions from them.
See, that's the thing, and it'll pop up in your feed, and especially now because it has the suggested post thing so regularly, is that however much you try and get away with it, if you're still on Instagram, or if you're probably with other accounts as well, you will get reminded about that and how strong you have to be to step away from that, especially if you're dealing with eating disorders and things like that. It's hard. I can't imagine how difficult it must be if you still want to have that life and that social media sort of thing, where obviously, especially when you're a bit younger, and that's the way that you communicate so much. As an old fart like me, actually, I could get rid of Instagram. It probably wouldn't affect my life too badly. But actually, people who still need to feel socially collected like that. What can you hear, Audrey?
Audrey's on the podcast. You're allowed to come on the podcast, aren't you, Audrey?
Yeah, that's Audrey. Audrey, my dog, is sniffing the microphone.
Does that smell okay?
Is it all right?
Is it all right?
Good.
Dogs are allowed on the biscuit. All right. Equality is really important, and I feel like I really thought we were making the right steps towards equality, and I feel like there's a couple of things that's happened. I feel like with cancel culture, by the way, I am very proud to be a woke person, and I always say this, but I feel like it's getting a little bit out of hand, where the slightest slur can destroy someone's career.
Yeah,
which is I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think there are genuine, definite like insults and slurs that should be like absolutely there, but when there's like it's becoming a bit too much of them. So there's that happening, and there's also like a doubling down of bro humor, and I feel like, how do we? Because like Instagram can be really horrible for that as well. Yeah, it's hard, and I think you're right with the cancel culture, because actually when it first started, I was like, oh, this is really powerful, and it was like, it quickly slid into, people can't have a point of view or learn from their mistakes. And that's what you were talking about earlier, is not having that conversation.
Exactly, and if it is just black and white, then we're just going to be polarised the whole time, and we're not going to be able to have a conversation with anybody. And I think that actually also people in the public eye can make a mistake and learn from it, and actually potentially be an ambassador for change once they've learnt from that. I've said some stupid things throughout the years.
I used to all the time, especially when I was doing You Suck and my old show Thor's Skin. We used to have a few beers and just talk nonsense,
I can imagine. If I did this with a glass of wine, I'd be saying all sorts of things. So
I remember I got asked, it was on a live show, and I've got the sound clip somewhere. I think I was doing a show with my good. It was Inglorious Barstools. This show we had, and I got asked a trivia question at the beginning of the show. What was here? What's here now that wasn't here in 1945? And I said Hiroshima, and they were like, "Oh!" And it was just this silence across the group. And I thought what I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was something that I'd read long ago, and I accidentally offended everybody live on this show. I genuinely thought that was the answer.
And that's the thing, is like, we say stupid things
all the time. I think we need to be very, very careful before we start doing cancelling people, because a one-off or even a second-off slip of something is completely different to somebody actually, thinking about, he's called Ye now, isn't he, Kanye West? He's obviously gone so deep into the rabbit hole of hate speech and stuff like that. Yeah, he needs to be cancelled. That's somebody who's dangerous to be in the public eye. But somebody, I can't even think of anybody now who's done a slight thing and they're cancelled. But it's just like, just be careful, because it's people's lives you're playing with. And also, it's martyrdom as well. If you create a martyr out of someone like Kanye West, I mean, look what's happening with Donald Trump now. He's been indicted again, and he's probably going to be the next president again. Brilliant, well done. But you know what happened? He went, hello, my supporters, I need money. And they're giving him money. The billionaire is asking for money, and they're giving him money. It's outrageous. But actually, I'm just watching a really good documentary at the moment. It's called The Vow. It's an HBO documentary. Okay. And it's about quite a recent cult called Nexium. It's not the antacid drug that my other half takes all the time, but over in America, and it's incredible how manipulated people's minds can be, and how if somebody's got the space and the power and the way of saying things, how you can absolutely manipulate people's thought processes. And this cult ended up being sort of all over the world, with tens of thousands of people part of it, and they all thought it was absolutely brilliant. And it was, anyway, I'm just going through the court case in the show at the moment, so no spoilers. And this is I guess it's dangerous for an artist such as yourself to see things like this, because then you could be like, oh, someone can work with that. Have you got to you got to censor yourself? Have you got to be like, right, okay, I'm focusing on this one thing, I can't let anything else into it, just distract me from it. Yeah, I think when I'm actually in a project, that's
that's all I do, and that's all I focus on. And I do quite heavy research into to sort of the cultural side of things, but also the other artists who've worked with those themes as well, to see kind of like what they've done and how they've approached it too. It's really interesting to see how different.
Is that so you don't step on someone's toes? So you can do something different, or
I mean, everything's been done a million times, hasn't it? But I mean, it's not necessary to not step on their toes. It's just to see what their point of view is, because I think the more different ways you see how people have approached a subject, it opens you up to finding new ways as well, and approaching and going, their approach combined with their approach could be really interesting.
Yeah.
So it's always worth doing lots of research, and that's something that I learned from doing the MA and the BA at Falmouth University, is that that was huge. I used to be really grumpy about doing reading for projects. I'd be like, I don't care, I don't want to read about some stuffy person, their theory on something. And I've completely changed my point of view. I've realised how much it enriches now. You might not necessarily agree with what you're reading. Susan Sontag is a very famous photographic writer and critic, and I hate what she writes. She is everybody's darling, and I cannot stand her. So I used to have loads of fights with everybody at university about Susan Sontag. But it's still important to read it in a way, because it's going back to that thing about, like, you need to read the opposing view. And for me in particular, like, a lot of my stuff's about body image and female empowerment and all that sort of stuff. If I don't read the red tops, if I don't read the Daily Mail sidebar of shame, I'm not doing my research. You can't just read the Guardian's take on.
And that's what they said about Facebook and stuff, is that you shouldn't remove someone that's like, as opposing
however
views,
much you want to,
as much as you want.
Is Audrey doing your head in down there?
No, she's great.
Okay,
we're chilling. We're chilling here. It's all about acceptance, isn't it? And this is what it boils down to. Is why can't we accept things that are different? Why can't we accept? And I think it's a lot to do with. Body projections. When people get really angry about, did you see that that video of the lady on the airplane? He's not real. That person over there is not real.
No, what was that?
So she was on an airplane and she was obviously in crisis. She was having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And she's demanding to be taken off a plane, and she's saying that there's a guy in the back of the plane that isn't real. There's a guy. He's not real. It's not real. And it went viral. And this girl has been. Oh my God, it's so heartbreaking what's happening, because it's gone viral, it's been remixed, it's been doing all, and they're all just taking the mic.
Yeah.
I saw one yesterday where they put like a supermodel's body over superimposed on her, some American, and I'm like, it makes me so angry. I forgot where I was going with this now. I got so angry about this.
Even Audrey's angry.
Yeah, you should be. Absolutely should be. Acceptance, that's what I was talking about. Accepting things that are different. And I think the problem with mental health and the problem with body image is they're scared of mental health. They're scared that they don't want to look crazy, so they over amplify what they're trying to say, what they're gonna say. And it's boils. I think it's playground tactics. I think it is definitely school playground tactics. It's
I mean, the internet is particularly childish. I mean, there's some things that I think I thank God for the childishness of the internet. But, it reminds me, actually, I don't know if you remember, I mean, this was a million years ago when everything was on YouTube. And there was, Britney Spears was having a breakdown. So it was 2008. And there was a guy on there who was a big fan of hers, and he was crying to the camera and he was saying, "Leave Britney alone."
I remember that, yeah.
And everyone thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And I did. I thought it was brilliant. And there was loads of remixes done and stuff like that. And I think about it now and I'm like, oh my God, that poor kid, he was probably not having a great time mentally. He was also defending somebody who was really not having a great time mentally. We all thought it was absolutely hilarious. And, it's just how we use the internet and how we use other people's presence on the internet, and then how we manipulate that as well. I mean, I could talk about that forever, actually. It's it's never ending.
And this is why I love your work, because you take that passion, what we've just heard right there, and you turn it into something visual that people can see.
Yeah.
And that's not easy. That's really not easy.
Thank you.
know, it's like, how do you, for me, my anxieties are like a ball of wool, yarn.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. How do you display that in a way that is a concept that people can understand? It's not that easy. It really isn't.
No, and I think it isn't. And I think, I mean, a lot of it, and this sounds so cliched, like every artist always does this, but like a lot of my ideas come to me when I'm falling asleep.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
And you're lying there and you're like just drifting off, and then suddenly you're wide awake because you've got the most amazing idea on the planet. It's like, oh my God, I need to write this down now. Like I had the other day, actually, for the New York thing. One of the things we have to do is on the Saturday night, there's a ball for us, for all the people who've participated, and we have to make a dress out of paper for it. And I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do. I've got to take it to New York from Shropshire. It's in paper. It's going to get ruined. What am I going to make? And then suddenly, as I was falling asleep, I was like, Post-it notes. It's easy to take. And then people can write on a Post-it note and then put it on me. And then they can build the dress whilst I'm there. And I was so excited. It was one of those things where I was like, I suddenly awake and I was like, oh my God, that's what I'll do.
And you look fabulous at the end of it as well.
Well, I hope people do it, otherwise I'll be naked. But yeah, the smallest dress there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was like actually that, and that, I love that kind of idea of audience participation within that as well. And kind of like, actually, it's what they make is what is created. And, if I did it again at a different time, it would be completely different. People would write different things on there.
If you were to do that, obviously you've got no problem with getting your kit off.
Oh God, no. I'm honestly, it's keeping it on that's the problem.
I'll say when you in a situation where there are people around you and you're doing something like that, what's going through your mind at the time? Are you proud of what you're doing? Is there other anxieties? Are you scared? Do you feel empowered? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I feel really powerful. I think it comes from, I used to be a life model years ago. So when I was, in my early 20s, just, scratching together whatever money I could, I used to be a life model, and I loved it because you'd sit there for 2 hours, not moving, and it'd be quiet. And you get to basically meditate for 2 hours. And it's just this really calm, beautiful space. Is that Audrey growling? What are you doing? Come here. Let me get her for you.
Not getting attention. That's what it is. You're okay. Bless her.
Sorry.
We weren't paying attention to the dog, and she was like, "Hey, where's my microphone?"
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You can share my microphone.
So being in that space as a life, that's one of the things I think a lot of people like worry about, staying in the right pose for like 2 hours and not like.
Yeah, I mean, you do get pins and needles everywhere. But I used to love it. I used to. It was so sad. I used to pride myself on being the stillest model. I was talking skills, staying still for ages.
Forgive me, I forgot her name. I was speaking to her at the Bellevue Arts Festival, the lady that runs the life drawing sessions at the Hive, and I said I would like to go with a renowned artist, Charlie Adlard or Cherie Gerard, or anybody that can actually draw. Let's go to Sam Pooley Stride. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And then me go and just compare notes. And she was got really like, not in my grill, but she was kind of like, everyone can draw.
It's true.
Everyone can do this. It's about learning how to. Yeah. And I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, and nice. Actually, and I think it's even one remove from that, because actually I go to, as part of my recovery, I go to Designs in Mind in Oswestry, which is an amazing mental health facility there where you get to do art. It's like it's a very gentle art therapy, but then you get to make things actually for them to sell, as well as you get a real sense of achievement. Yeah. They've got an amazing. Actually, you should speak to those guys at Designs in Mind at some point, because they're absolutely amazing, and so there's a group of like 20 of us in a room, and we most people are not artistically trained, but what people create, and people have gone through all sorts of different things. There's people with me who are, I had my breakdown. There's other people who've had like head injuries. There's other people who are autistic, ADHD, all the realms of mental sort of stages really. Are there, which is brilliant because it's a really nice support network, but also you get to see what people make. And actually some people who you'd say can't draw the most amazing things, and they're the best designs out there, because there's just a completely different way of seeing as well. So it might not look like a cat, but my God, is it an amazing drawing of a cat.
I think Andy McEwen helped me a lot with understanding about how subjective art can be. Because Andy McEwen will spend, you know Andy McEwen, he's a light artist.
Yeah.
He'll record a stream in the garden, and then he'll turn that sound into something visual whilst playing the sound as well. And like, for me, that's something that like breaks a barrier, and another barrier of what understanding what art is.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I do, and my dad actually loves playing with sound as well, as part of his practice. And I think that's what's so amazing about art, is that actually you can use anything if you approach something, and it can be absolutely anything, and you think about it in a playful way, and it's about playing and experimenting, not feeling like you're doing something right or wrong, and just kind of just going with it and seeing what happens. You know, it's amazing what you can come up with.
Yeah. I mean, I did struggle with contemporary art for a while, but I was at the Arts Trail opener at the museum, where I was chatting to John Ragg, and I was talking about there's this beautiful. I forget, like, art for me was something I enjoyed, but it had to be something that would be like Giga or Dali, or something that really makes your motor running, like, obviously.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something that's like a shade of black with lines on it, I would look at that and be like, somebody's just hit a canvas with what is that? But now I'm kind of understanding it. I've had a real education with speaking to artists over the years.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
And it's been a nice journey, actually.
And it's nice, and I think it's about and my other half will tell me off now, because he thinks the complete opposite. We have good debates.
We're in for it now.
Yeah, we're in for it now. But no, but it's good, and that's what I love about having that safe space with him, where actually we can really kind of like get to it with discussing things. And actually, I often think, it's about the artist's intent, not necessarily what is in front of you. It's about sort of understanding what the artist's intent was. He thinks the complete opposite. So we can, he thinks it's not about the intent and actually about what has been produced. So, you can see it both ways. But what I find interesting is seeing art sort of naively to start with. So like a black canvas or something like that. And then trying to figure out how I feel about it, what I think about it. And it could be, it's pile of crap, or it could be, yes, that's really inspirational, or I think it evokes whatever in me. And then reading about the artist's intent for it and seeing if it matches up, or seeing if it's completely different, or if it then adds a new level of kind of awareness into that piece. And I'm the same with films and with books. And again, my other half hates it, because I won't read the blurb on the back of a book, because I don't want to know anything in advance. I want it completely fresh, and I want it completely naive, and then I want to, after that, then find out, because I want my own experience to not be inspired or sullied by somebody else.
And it kind of marries up with acceptance, what we've just been talking about. You may like a white canvas with a slight little thing on there. And if you can accept and love that piece of art, it shouldn't matter what anybody else feels around you.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I feel like there is definitely a marriage when it comes to the acceptance of art, of what you may perceive as art, your own perspective of that, and to culture, to religion, and to body positivity.
Yeah.
Politics, it's the same.
No, it is. And, it's, and also, art is such a big thing. We kind of clump it in this one thing, but, if somebody who does beautiful watercolors compared to somebody else who, works with light, for example, or like the conceptual stuff that I do that's very political, they're so different from each other. It feels like it shouldn't really be kind of put in the same bracket.
Yeah. What have you got to say about that, Audrey?
You're growling.
There was a dog going past.
Was a dog going past.
What would you like to say to that dog that walked past, Audrey?
Get out of my house.
But it does, it fits on, art is something you can't just go, art!
Yeah.
Because it's like fits under an umbrella that's so big.
It's huge. And, you think about, and also, people kind of like often value art very low in the grand scheme of life. But, it's also music and film and, all those things that actually we really can't live without. Life without all of that would be really dull.
Equilibrium.
Yeah.
That movie, Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Christian Bale's like, actually, it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? I love that film. It's really, really good. Are you working on anything new at the moment, or are you just concentrating on New York? I mean, is there anything that you...
So just starting to do this research into my 13,000 new followers and figuring out what that is. I need to get somebody to translate the videos. So if anybody can speak any of those languages, please let me know, because I would love to know what they're saying on them. And also concentrating on New York, figuring out what that's all going to be like.
I'd love to, how long are you there for?
5 days.
5 days. I'd love to like throw some content, because this is going to go out, this podcast, in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I'd love to throw some context onto that. So any videos or pictures, send me a couple of pictures from New York that we can put on our...
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I will do. Well, it's October in New York, so...
we've got loads of time.
Yeah, loads of time.
Oh, right, okay.
So...
We'll come with you.
Come along.
New York, I'm on my way.
Yeah, Shrewsbury on tour. Woo!
I'd love to do a radio show in New York. I think it would go down so well.
Well, there we go. My dream's coming true. Yours can come true too.
It's weird, right? Because I used to watch Frasier as a kid as the thing that was before Friends.
Yeah.
And it's only as I got older I realised there's quite a bit of sophistication to Frasier. That's actually quite nice. I'm like, oh, maybe I could be a Frasier crate and sit behind a microphone. I don't know. There's something nice about how we mature with the things around us. You know.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about cancel culture and I'm talking about this a lot at the moment, so it must be on my mind. The listeners will be like, oh, here he goes again. Tom Segura, for me, right, was a few years ago a comedian I just couldn't get on with. He was too in your face with some of his ideals and stuff. Whereas now I'm a bit older and my patience is a little bit more less. I feel like there's some things that because there's a joke that he made. About his boys. He was like, oh yeah, I was chatting to my boys and they're real he-hims, and we had the conversation, don't worry about it. And that wasn't a dig at equality, that was a dig at what we were talking about the cancel culture. And I kind of like that. It's kind of something punk rock about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do. Well, if you go into the gender equality, it's that's
fire. That's napalm.
That is proper napalm. Yeah, absolutely. I know. We actually we were down in Falmouth for my graduation a couple of weeks ago, and we had to move tables in a restaurant because somebody was being so vile about gender fluidity that we asked to move tables. So it is, and it really kind of, I think it's that is an incredibly polarizing topic.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, again, go back to, it's very simple. Why can't we all just be accepting of each other? Does it bother you? No. Is it gonna make your cornflakes taste sour in the morning? Is
exactly.
it no?
Just chillax. It's chillax. This is how old I am.
Yeah, I love that. Chillax.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah.
It is. It's just like, oh, for God's sake, just think about something else. And again, I think that's something that I love about art in particular, is that actually it gives you a completely different focus on life. You're not worrying about if your neighbour's anything. It's like you're thinking about much bigger things, and I like that a lot. And I think having a focus in your life that's not about you, your family, your work, the bills, what's happening in the news, it's so important to have something else going on there. It doesn't have to be art. I mean, it is for me, but it can be golf or whatever, but just have something that takes you away from all of that everyday stuff.
Yeah, it's really important, I think, because, and also as well, it's good to get that actualization, that realization that actually what you're part of is probably a little bit toxic. You know what I mean? We're big fans of the football club. We have, we're going to go into our first season with a season ticket. We love it. My little boy loves it. But I see quite a few things that are a bit trouble in there. Some of the kids there that are a bit too into the and it's kind of like, well, is there something we can do to sort of bring that back a bit? I mean, I want to work with the club to to talk about sort of stories of people that have been a part of the club for years and years and years and years. So maybe we can bring up a bit of that romance back.
Yeah, I know it'd be lovely. And I think, with football, I've got a family full of massive football fans, and I kind of grew up when the hooliganism and all that sort of stuff was going on. So my first football matches were actually quite scary, and I still have that nervousness about going to a football match. And it's such a shame because it's a sport and we shouldn't feel frightened. And actually, going to the cricket is lovely and it's really chilled. And it's like, how can you bring that vibe to football?
I've been invited to the cricket round here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The host of TWS podcast, a sports podcast, he plays from around here. He was like, come and and I was like, but it's cricket though. He's like, you can have a couple of beers, but it's cricket though.
Doesn't matter.
He was like, it's fine.
I've been to so many cricket matches. I have literally no idea what goes on, and I love it.
To have a glass of Pimm's.
It's great. It's just such a nice day. Yeah.
So I might be coming to Column Cricket Club at some point with a microphone. I'll chat to you guys when you're not batting or whatever.
Whatever it is you do.
Whatever it is you guys do. I've really loved meeting you. Honestly,
Thank you.
Learning about you over this last week and looking at your work and kind of understanding it, I think. And I think that's what we need to take a bit more time to do, I think, is to just take a bit of time to understand what someone's doing, the message they're trying to say, and why. Yeah. Why they're trying to say it.
And you don't have to like it. That's okay. Like I've got loads of people who really hate my work, and that's fine. But I think it's about...
Can you imagine having like, oh, your work is so revolting, but... but I love you all the same. That's a soundbite, but that's for sure.
Happens every day. But it's about opening up that conversation, I think, is the important thing.
And what do you say to the naysayers?
It's fine. I mean, like, I don't make work for people to... Oh, this sounds so art speak now. I don't make work for people to necessarily enjoy. That sounds so silly. But it's more about... And I know, again, it's like, I know that a lot of my work wouldn't go up on somebody's wall. I know that that's not its place, but its place is in making people think about the world and think about stuff that's maybe they don't normally think about. I think that's. I think
thing. Provocative art, like we were talking about. I was talking about Giger and Dali. My younger influences mainly from school, but I was kind of like, I loved Alien, so the Giger stuff was
perfect,
great for that. And anything that provokes a conversation, or a way of thinking, or an emotion. I think it's great. I think what I was talking about before on a show, I was talking about trolls. When somebody trolls a film or a thing, I feel like it's kind of done its job. And if you promote some sort of emotion where you feel like you have to tell someone you hate it, then it's done something to you.
Exactly. And actually, that's the thing from advertising. I don't know if it's still like that in advertising, but actually, if you make an advert that people hate, it's still done its job because people remember it.
Yeah, and then they're actually they're kind of pushing in on that with TikTok and the YouTube shorts. My kid, he watches these things one after the other, and sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, Batman is the best hero in Marvel," and then it'll be like, "He's not in Marvel, he's in DC," and it'll start all these comments. But it's done its job. It's done exactly what it's supposed to do, and that's where it gets its clicks, and it's
absolutely. It's all about.
And that in itself, it's art,
Oh God, advertising's art, and that's yeah. I mean, don't get me started on what's art, because everything is art.
Everything's art.
There we go.
Where can people find your work if they want to look at your work?
So the most up-to-date stuff is on my Instagram, which is at Vanessa Fairfax-Woods, and there's also my website, which is vanessafairfaxwoods.com.
Which is a great website, by the way. I don't know if you have like something that tells you that somebody's on your website. I used to have one, but I've been on there all morning.
Have you? Oh,
no, because there's lots to look at there. So if you want to find a new artist that you want to have a deep dive into, the website is fantastic.
Yeah, no, the website's better for a deep dive because it's got the projects in full and also an explanation about the projects.
That's what I loved about it. It wasn't just like, here's this video. There's this really nice readout about.
Oh, thank you.
And I enjoyed that. It's like it was great because you get lots to look at, and it's really good. New York, we'll keep in touch with you about that.
Please,
it sounds really, really exciting.
You're coming. So
yeah, I'm coming to New York. New York, baby. Is there any hope for the pop-up in the future in Shrewsbury?
Possibly, yeah. I think it's just a tough time with summer holidays and stuff to do it at the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's watch this space. But if anybody wants to get in touch to do, if anybody is interested in having a different type of photograph done, then give me a shout.
There's so many places in town that are great for that. You know, there's Mrs. Jones Gallery. It's just opening. I know Shrewsbury Coffee House. They do quite a bit with art as well. And I think they've just opened up a public gallery in the parade as well because of the popularity of the arts trail.
Oh, really?
As you go down the stairs, I'm pretty sure they're leaving that as a gallery.
Oh, nice.
So people
nice, yeah. And it's, it's great. And Shrewsbury Museum's brilliant as well.
Yeah.
I did I won't start now because I know we're wrapping up, but sorry.
No, you're doing it's fine.
I did have a 3-month exhibition there.
Oh, right, yeah, cool.
So, but yeah, if anybody's interested in having a chat about anything, or would like a different sort of photograph doing, I do some quite fun kind of like lifestyle personal shoots as well, which are quite entertaining.
Sounds great. Well, it's been lovely to meet you today on the show.
Oh, and you, absolutely.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Really, seriously. So if you've got anything you want to plug, maybe we can chat before you go to New York. I don't know.
It'd be fun.
That'd be great.
On the plane.
On the plane. Yeah, it's really good. 10 minutes is a bit strong. Yeah, great.
Thank
you, Audrey. You've
Audrey's
been great.
saying goodbye.
Yeah, say goodbye, Audrey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Just how awesome is Vanessa? That was great, wasn't it? And honestly, it was really nice meeting her. Going around her house, she was very accommodating, very welcoming. And do you know what? I feel like when I do an interview, I feel like everybody sort of becomes my friend. I'm kind of like, oh, can we be friends? Admit it, guys. You feel the same too. If you've been on my show, you'll know. But with Vanessa, I feel like we could do a series of podcasts about that, and it wouldn't be boring. It would carry on being as exciting as that one was. So thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. I really did appreciate meeting you. Okay, so if you're listening to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast for the first time, first of all, thank you so much for tuning into my show. I really appreciate you. Also, please give us a follow on social media, whichever social media you prefer. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Threads. Oh, it's not Twitter anymore, it's X, aren't we? And so we're on X, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram, which is my favorite. We're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn too. So please give us a follow wherever you prefer us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember what I said at the beginning of the podcast, advertising opportunities are now available on the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. If you have a business and you want to be heard, please get in touch. I'm offering that there are some very cheap advertising possibilities and opportunities for the biscuit. So email me at shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com or just grab us on social media. This was great. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.